Good morning. This is Claire Downham, your wellbeing guide, with today's step from stress and anxiety to inner peace. And this morning, I'm going to start with a story. And this story, I've come across it a couple of times from some of my teachers. Michael Neal was one person who told me it initially. So there is a man walking by the river one day, and he sees a person drowning in the river. And so he jumps in and rescues the person, pulls him to the side, and breathes a sigh of relief. But then as the two people are recovering on the side of the bank, they see that there are more and more people floating down the river, drowning, waving and drowning. And so the men jump in and start to rescue more and more people. And over a period of time, there just are more and more people floating down this river, waving and drowning. And they build a community around the side of the river to rescue as many people as they can. But then they do rescue a lot of people, and some of those people join the community and others don't. But they build up quite a community. It has houses and schools and everything else going on. And they keep going back in the river to save as many people as they can. Unfortunately, they don't manage to save everybody, but they do save a lot of people. And it becomes pretty much the purpose of this village is to rescue people from the river. And then one day, the man who initially rescued the first person from the river, disappears. And the community are distraught because he's their leader. He's grown to be the power behind all of this. He's the person who guides them and helps train everybody to rescue people from the river. And he is gone for quite some time, and the people in the village are wondering where he is. But all of a sudden they notice that there are less and less people appearing in the river. And after a little while, there's nobody at all. There's nobody coming down the river. And the people in the village are a bit bemused by this. They're not really sure why there are suddenly no people coming down the river, whereas there were lots and lots before. And after a little while, the man, the leader comes back into the village, and they're like, where have you been? Where have you been? Where have you been? You left us. Why did you go? And they're a little bit annoyed with him and quite cross with him. And he says, I went upstream to stop people jumping in the river. Now, this story for me has been used in business for lots of times, and it's been used a lot to do with how business grows and things like that. But actually, for me, this story points to what we are doing in the wellness industry right now, and in terms of how we are dealing with our own well-being. We're dealing with the results of what happens, what works inside of us. So what we experience on a moment-by-moment basis is our feelings, is our thinking, is our experience of life. And what we are doing a lot of the time is trying to manage that. And that's like those drowning people floating down the river. We're trying all the time to manage, to judge, to manage. This is okay, this thought's okay, this feeling's not. This feeling's okay, this thought's not. So we're trying all the time to affirm them out, or meditate them out, or do something to change our thinking and to change our feeling. But the thing is, we don't really understand where it's all coming from. We haven't gone far enough upriver. And I can remember being that person who continually tried to manage my feelings, to not be okay when there were certain feelings, to be okay when I made sure that these other feelings, to do all that positive psychology stuff. I've been managing my feelings. And I know there are people watching this video who are caught in that same trap, and it is completely innocent, because that's what we've been told we have to do. We've been told we must manage our well-being. that we must stay on top of it, that we must keep doing things to make sure we're okay every day. And I don't know about you, but for me, that became exhausting in the end. It became exhausting to continually be doing that. It was like that game of whack-a-mole where you are continually bashing down little heads, but another one just keeps popping up, more and more just keep popping up, and it becomes relentless to keep doing that. And all of these tools and all of these techniques, wonderful as they are born out of an innocent misunderstanding. I read somebody's profile a few days ago that said that they use psychological theories. And what is a theory if it isn't something that is true? It's a theory. Psychological theories are the basis for every single thing that is being done in the well-being industry. Theories, not truths. When you go back upstream, when you go back upriver from there, when you go to the truth of where your experience is coming from, it allows such phenomenal transformation. Because just in seeing the source of it and knowing that it's all actually coming from one source, like there are no good or bad feelings, there are no good or bad thoughts. It's all okay. But when we are watching, for me, it's like rubbish flowing down the river. When we see some things come down the river and they look like, you know, a beautiful swan, and then other things come down the river and we think they look like rubbish, so we want to get rid of them. But what if you knew they were all okay? They're all part of the river's journey. When we go back upstream to the source of our experience and understand that, it changes everything. It changes every experience that we have in life. It makes everything so much lighter. Because for me, it is in the doing of well-being that we actually take ourselves away from well-being. A lot of the time, because it's looking, there's a thought or a feeling we don't want to experience, and so we look at that and we try to change that, and that's what takes us away from a nice feeling, actually, because we're looking and looking and looking at the thing we don't want. So what would it be like if you didn't have to do that anymore? If you didn't have to manage your feelings and your thoughts day in and day out, how much would that take off your mind? How much stiller would your river be? How much quieter would it be? Would that take you out of the rapids that you probably feel like you are in now? What if every single thought and every single feeling was okay? And in the being of it being, in the experience of it being okay, it just flows through, because we are this self-writing system. We have this innate ability to self-correct. It's always been there. It's been there right from when we were tiny children who live in the present moment and flow in and out of feelings without a care. They just don't care. They don't judge that it's not okay to have a tantrum. They don't judge that happiness is better than sadness. They don't judge any of that. It's all just flowing in and out. And you are still that tiny child. But when you think that this is okay and this isn't okay, then you tend to try a lot to make this more and this less. And that is where the discomfort comes in, I think. When you go back upstream to the source of where your experience is coming from, when you understand that in any moment, 100% of human beings are creating 100% of their experience 100% of the time through thought in the moment. You're all doing it. We're all doing it. You don't have a choice, just in the same way that you don't have a choice for gravity to work in your life. It just is. It's just working that way. And just in understanding that, there's a whole lot less to do. In the non-judgment of your experience of your thoughts and your feelings, there is a lot less to do. And I don't know about you, but I've got enough to do as it is, like doing the outside world and living my life without having to manage all the time what's going on inside. So, there's nothing to do. Apart from, obviously, send me a lovely message saying you'd like to spend more time finding out about this. I'll just leave you with that, I think. Just, if it's given you a nice feeling to look in this direction, if you felt some weight come off your shoulders, then that's where I encourage you to keep looking. You will definitely function better with less on your mind. And if what's on your mind a lot of the time right now is managing your thoughts and feelings, then there is a possibility to not be doing that anymore, or doing it a lot less. So I'm Claire Downham, your wellbeing guide. This has been today's step from stress and anxiety to inner peace. Thank you so much for watching. Take care and enjoy what probably is your first day back at work. And I shall see you again soon. Thank you.